Get into tidy data. Tidy data is really built around uh, three key vocabulary terms that define what these things are, but they also kind of explain the structure of the data here. In tidy data, we have variables, we have observations, and we have values. Variables are the exact same thing that variables are in a scientific context, right? Some of these variables could be our independent variable or a dependent variable. Um, these are the things that we're measuring or recording in an experiment and sometimes controlling. Um, in a tidy data sheet, each variable gets one column and only one column. And so those are in the spreadsheet. Each row in the spreadsheet is an observation. And every time we record data from another observation, our spreadsheet gets longer and longer. Sometimes tidy data is called long form or tabular data. These are the rows. And then the data themselves we refer to as values. And if those are numbers, I think that's right in line with how we might use the term in a math class or just in common language. A number is a value. But what your students might just need to think about for a second more is that a categorical variable has values as well. And so in this little example diagram, that variable called country can have a value of Afghanistan, or it can have a value of Brazil, or a value of China. Those are values of a categorical variable. And just want to show you an example of some untidy data. I think, well, I will say there are a million different ways for data to be untidy, but this is the most common one that you will see from students because it's sort of intuitive. If you're measuring plant height, what you will often see is the variable that is like your treatment variable, or in this case, your sort of your plant identifier. And they'll make a separate column for each of these, right? So there's one for plant A and another for plant B. And then those are measurements of plant height in centimeters going down there. But the spreadsheet doesn't actually indicate that the units are centimeters or that those are measurements of height. And so a computer is never going to be able to reliably guess at what these are. In tidy data, everything is much more explicit, where we could take that same data and we have 10 observations. So we make that data 10 rows long. And you can see that our variables are day number, and you can see that those are going to repeat, right? We have two values for day number one because we had two observations that had the value of day number one there for that day variable. And then you can see plant A has 5 rows and plant B has 5 rows because we made 5 observations of plant A and 5 observations of plant B. And then we can see this other variable, height in centimeters. This is likely the dependent variable in our experiment here. And you can see we have 10 values going down, 10 rows, 10 observations. This is tidy data. In this format, it's like you're thinking in variables because you're able to say, well, what variables do we record in our experiment? We recorded day, we recorded plant, we recorded height. How many observations of those variables did we make? That's how many rows we have for those. So